As Attorney General Barr faces fresh attacks, lots of them, on his credibility, there's one question no Democrat in Washington is able to provide an answer to, and that is this. Why would our FBI rely on opposition research to secure a FISA warrant to spy on an innocent American? This really is the question that every American, left, right, and right down the middle, deserves an answer to. And it is the question that may ultimately prove to be the undoing of our intelligence agencies as we know them today. Standards should be extraordinarily high in the FISA court, but we're learning they were anything but that. Instead, at the FISA court, they were so lax that the FBI could use a flimsy piece of opposition research that had never been vetted, compiled by a former British intel op, i.e. a foreigner, who solicited stories from his former Russian intel friends, i.e. not only foreigners, but foreigners who were and are adversaries of the United States. I mentioned the foreigner part because for all those Democrats complaining about foreign interferences in the election because the Russians created those fake social media accounts, I should think they'd be a little bit more worked up over how exactly the FBI treated a bunch of former KGB folks' intel as somehow gospel. Anyway, while we know the unproven dossier was part of the evidence justifying a warrant to spy on the Trump campaign, the other evidence that may have come to the FBI, from the FBI to the FISA court, may actually cause us to consider something like possible entrapment. The FBI increasingly looks like it may have tried to effectively entrap Trump campaign aide Carter Page via a Cambridge professor named Stephen Halper. According to reports, including one in the Washington Post, Mr. Halper contacted 3 Trump campaign advisors for brief talks and meetings that largely centered on foreign policy. And at the same point during that time, again, per a report in the Washington Post, began working as a secret informant for the FBI as it investigated Russia's interference in the campaign. Is this normal in any way? I mean, why is the FBI out there hiring secret informants to report back to them on the Trump campaign? Is this what the FBI does in every election? To the other side? Carter Page says his contacts with Halper, quote, intensified in the month before the FBI obtained its first FISA warrant to spy on him, which, by the way, was authorized by a FISA judge in October 2016 and subsequently renewed, actually, 3 times. Here he is with our own Maria Bartiromo. Watch.
I had a long-standing relationship with Professor Halper, and, we'll see. Again, I always believe in innocent till proven guilty, but this was my conversations with him intensified right the month before my illegitimate FISA warrant in September 2016, when all these defamatory articles are being placed by the DNC.
Kind of bizarre, right? I mean, if the FBI really and truly thought Trump was an agent of Russia, that would be one thing. And by the way, if they thought that, you'd think that they'd go out there and do a little research of their own, right? Actual research, and not rely on things like that so-called dossier from Christopher Steele. But it seems the FBI just wanted to try and catch the opposing party and candidate in something. Michael Caputo, a former advisor to the 2016 Trump campaign, he went through something quite similar to what Carter Page experienced. And he joins me right now. It's good to see you again, Michael. Just to remind everybody, you say that you also saw communications with an FBI informant intensify with you, sir. What do you mean?
Well, an FBI informant of 17 years, a criminal Russian in America on an FBI informant visa, came to me at the end of May offering me dirt on Hillary Clinton. Early in May, I was approached by an American, national security contractor offering to help me get Hillary Clinton's emails. And I believe we're going to find out that there are more informants and more spies like Halper approaching other people as well. You got to look at it this way, I guess. I mean, most people do. either the the counterintelligence operation at the FBI was hapless, feckless, and all they did was send Stephen Halper and a honeypot after George Papadopoulos and Carter Page, and that was the sum total of, the precursor to Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I don't believe that. I don't think the counterintelligence division is feckless. I think their operation was much broader than that. I think that's what Attorney General Barr is starting to see, and that's why I think the Inspector General's report is going to be late.
Late, because there's more there's more to be investigated,
yep.
and this
if you remember,
is not going to be able to,
Attorney General Barr said it would be out in he said it'd be out in early June, and here we are, and it's nowhere around. I think we'll be lucky to see it before the end of June.
That makes sense to me. I think that there's a lot of sort of loose ends that have to be tied up. Now, if I wanted to assume the purest of intentions from our FBI, I would say, okay, for some reason, they really legitimately thought that Trump was an agent of Russia. But then when I look at how they approached it, if they really thought that, there are things that you would do. There would be, T's to cross and I's to dot, so to speak, Michael, so that you could actually come to that conclusion in a meaningful way and go to the FISA court and do things the right way. But they didn't do any of that. So they were either totally incompetent or there was something else perhaps malicious going on. I'm left thinking, wait, is this the just mode of operation? Is this their MO? You just go and spy on an opposing campaign, the other party? Or was it just Trump?
Well, I love listening to Attorney General Barr closely because he's starting to, he's describing what looked like maybe a Praetorian Guard of people who thought that their beliefs were the truth for America and everybody else needed to follow them. He's describing what appears to be a group of, maybe rogue folks inside the FBI, which he even said a lot of them gone by now, right? Who were trying to spy on the Republican candidate for president. I love listening to his exact, precise words. We're going to get closer and closer to this, but we're going to find out there's more than just Stephen Halper, and we're also going to find out that this investigation started long before July 31st, when they're careful to say the official FBI investigation, Crossfire Hurricane, began.
And you think that you were
there was a preliminary investigation as well. I know because they contacted me.
And that's in the Mueller report, by the way. I read all about that there in Volume 1. Of course, you had told me about it. But let me turn to another thing right now, and that's House Judiciary Committee Jerry Nadler, the chairman of that committee. He's putting his efforts into holding AG Barr in contempt on pause right now, sir. This is after reaching a deal with the Justice Department to access evidence related to the Mueller probe. But, it hasn't stopped Nadler from being out there calling witnesses before his committee that agree with his view that the Mueller report proves somehow the president obstructed justice. Among those testifying to that just hours ago included former Nixon White House counsel John Dean. Here he is. Watch.
In many ways, the Mueller report is to President Trump what the so-called Watergate roadmap was to President Richard Nixon. Stated a little differently, Special Counsel Mueller has provided this committee with a roadmap.
I would be willing to personally indict the case and to try the case. I would have confidence that the evidence would be sufficient to obtain a guilty verdict and to win on appeal.
I'm confident that if anyone other than a sitting president committed this conduct, that person would be charged with crimes.
Michael, your reaction?
Well, it's a CNN panel, isn't it? In fact, all three of those people are frequent contributors to CNN, and John Dean is even paid by CNN. I've appeared on CNN panels with all three of them, and that reveals really what the House Judiciary Committee is up to, doesn't it? They're trying to recreate the excitement that they had going in 2017 and 2018 surrounding the bogus Russia collusion hoax. They're trying to recreate it around obstruction. So they're bringing in the same talking heads that got it all going on CNN, seeing if they can do it in the House of Representatives. I think the American people might be a little bit tired of this.
Listen, some advice for Jerry Nadler and some advice for CNN here. It has not worked for CNN, and it's not going to work for the Democrats. People want something to vote for, not against, and they're just making themselves look even more pathetic with this whole charade. Anyway, Michael, good to see you.